started seeing that sunshine yesterday. In fact, if we look at the satellite imagery from yesterday, we can see it had a little bit of cloud cover in the Arrowhead and UP, but outside of that, plenty of sun for much of the Northland. It was a bit breezy though. Look at these wind gusts from yesterday. I mean, we got up to close to 40 miles per hour there in Duluth, and we actually saw some spots here, especially out in Lake Superior, getting closer to over 40 miles per hour. So it was definitely a bit blustery for much of the Northland. This is what actually helped us keep a little bit cooler. Now, it was a warm up from the days previous. We got into the upper half of the 40s in parts of northern Minnesota. We even saw some low 50s, a couple here south along the I-35 corridor, mostly in the 40s for much of the Northland though. And so it was a little bit warmer, but because of that sunshine, the northwest winds, though they weren't very cool, did keep us slightly cooler than what we're going to be seeing today. And we're going to be getting into that because if you look at today, once again, we're going to be plenty of sunshine, some upper level clouds making their way through for the southern half of the Northland, but outside of that, going to be clear. And it's not just today, but heading into Friday as well. Though on Friday, especially later on, you'll notice we're going to see a bit more cloud cover start to make its way on in, especially farther north you are. Now, if you look at the winds, going to be calmer, so we're not going to be having those northwest winds like we did yesterday, like we are going to see today. We're still going to have a little bit of a breeze around Lake Superior, but outside of that, it's going to be a lot calmer. So we're going to see the temperatures warm up a bit more because we don't have those northwest breeze and we still have that sunshine. We're going to see a lot more of us getting into the low 50s, especially the further south and west you go. Once you're into northern Minnesota, maybe some parts of the UP, probably going to be staying more into those upper 40s, but that's still quite mild compared to where we normally are this time of year. And once we get into the overnight hours, it's also going to be quite mild. We'll be waking up to temperatures around the freezing mark, which is pretty comfortable. I mean, we're in November now, so we're usually waking up a little bit chillier than this. By the time we get going on Friday, this is where we're going to be feeling quite warm. It's going to feel more like the first couple of weeks of October, or what should have been, because this last October was quite a bit warmer. We're looking at 80s, but as we get into our Friday, we're looking a lot of 50s, some even low 60s down here, showing sign there 62 degrees. So I think if you go south along the I-35 corridor, this is where we can see some low 60s sneaking their way on in. And notice, we're going to actually have a lake breeze right by, especially along the North Shore here. We're actually going to see temperatures a little bit cooler because Lake Superior is going to be cooler than the warmer temperatures we're going to be having in our area, keeping a lot of us into the upper 40s along Lake Superior, especially along the North Shore. So not very often do we see a lake breeze this late into the season, but the reason we are is because, as I mentioned, it's going to be quite warm. In fact, we're going to be 15, 20 plus degrees above that seasonal average. So, I mean, it is going to feel very nice outside. So try to enjoy today, tomorrow, while we have this pretty warm weather for November making its way in. And things will start to change, though. Look as we get into Saturday, mainly in the overnight hours heading into early Saturday. This is where we're going to see some showers rolling all through ahead of a cold front that will also be passing on through. Unfortunately, the rain totals won't be too great. It's showing maybe some spots getting to a tenth of an inch of rain, especially in northern Minnesota, but for much of the Northland, it's probably going to be pretty minimal. Like I said, maybe a tenth of an inch of rain, but overall, probably going to be a trace. Really not going to be seeing too much of that rain. And I say unfortunate because we have those drought conditions, and honestly, anything to help with those is appreciated, but we really need a bit more substantial rain to help eat away at the drought we are seeing. And if you look at the wind gust forecast, you'll notice, though, we're going to see the winds really become blustery on Saturday because the system is going to bring a more impactful cold front than it is when it comes to those showers. And it is going to cool us down a good bit. By the time we get Saturday, we're starting to see a lot of us back into the 40s, even some upper 30s in far northern Minnesota, like is shown there in International Falls. And as we get into Sunday, look at this, 30s, low 40s for those highs all across the Northland. So we're going to be back to normal. This is pretty seasonal for the middle of November. And what is going to be unusual is we're going to be staying here all the way into next week without much change. That's actually kind of unusual. I mean, in the Northland, we're so used to the roller coaster of temperature, especially as we get in the fall, but this is going to be a period of consistently normal temperatures we're about to see. And we're going to be staying dry initially, though we might see a system try to push in here, bring some showers. Chances are a bit low, as you can tell. It's going to probably dissipate before we see any, thanks to a high pressure system that'll be in our area. But as early as Tuesday, can see a couple showers. But when it comes to more substantial rain, which we hope we do get, odds are going to be picking up later next week, heading towards that weekend. I mean, hopefully we do see it, because for now, the drought conditions might actually worsen a little bit because it's just been so dry. We'll continue to do so until we see that system this weekend bring in just a little bit of rain, and it's also going to bring back those seasonal temperatures as well.